Kill me! I'm here! Kill me!
Hey everybody, this is Matthew Movies coming at you with my top 10 list of zombie movies of all time, my personal favorites. Now, I recently put out a video that was a contest entry that was my top 5, but when I put it together, it was kind of spur of the moment, and this list is my definitive list where I put a little bit more thought into it. So, before I get to my actual ranking, I just want to touch on the fact that there are a few movies here that I would have put in, or I considered putting in, but ultimately I didn't put in because I didn't really consider them to be zombie movies. But some people have. I saw them listed as places as zombie movies, but I don't really think of them as zombie movies. That being Slither, Army of Darkness, Reanimator, and The Cabin in the Woods. Now, if you're asking about The Cabin in the Woods, if you're like, Cabin in the Woods, what the hell? It's because there's a scene in the movie where zombies are there. But I don't consider it to be a zombie movie. I consider it to be an awesome movie, but not a zombie movie. All those movies I love, but I don't consider them zombie movies. So, without any further ado, let's get to the list. Now, my number 10 is going to be a movie called ParaNorman. Now, if you've never heard of ParaNorman, I don't blame you. I feel like this movie really went under the radar. Was very underappreciated. It's a claymation movie, and it's done by the same company that did Box Trolls and Coraline, and it looks very similar to those movies. But it's a family-friendly movie, but it's about zombies come to life in this little town, and it was very entertaining. It's not in the same ilk of the other movies you're going to see here where it's all gore and stuff like that, because like I said, it is very much a family movie, but I still love it. Number 9 is a movie called Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse that I just saw this last year, and I thought was really entertaining. It's about exactly what it sounds like, really. A group of scouts are in like a little town that gets overrun by zombies, and you see how their preparedness makes them different in that kind of situation. And I thought it was extremely entertaining and very funny and well done. The characters were all well drawn. I just thought it was really enjoyable overall. Number 8 is going to be Land of the Dead, the last good Romero zombie movie in my opinion. I saw Diary of the Dead and I thought it was a pile of garbage, but I really enjoyed Land of the Dead. I don't think it's a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, there are definitely parts of it that are a bit overdone. Like some of it, like he's always been known for putting in like the social commentaries, and this one was a little bit on the nose. I felt like at certain points, some of the acting was a little bit subpar, but I really liked big parts of it. I really liked yet again they brought back the concept of like kind of like a lead zombie that kind of understands things. I thought that was really cool. The truck armored vehicle that they're in, I think they call it Dead Reckoning. That part was really cool. I thought the acting was very like I said, in parts it was very over the top, but that also added a lot to its charm because there are definitely scenes that were like, people were definitely chewing the scenery, but in a fun way that I really quite enjoyed. Then next up at number 7 is Zombieland. I loved Zombieland. I thought it was hilarious. I thought the zombies were done great. The cameo, of course, was legendary. I loved all the characters. I thought were very well drawn. You had a very good understanding of like what their motivations were and what they were trying to get across and what they were trying to do. And overall, I just thought it was a very well made movie. Then at number 6, I'm going to go with the 90s remake of Night of the Living Dead, a movie that I absolutely enjoyed. I was actually kind of conversing with somebody in the comment section of my previous video the other day, and the things that I loved about this movie over the original, like I love the fact that Barbara is not such a weakling that's always just whimpering and whining all the time. I love some of the moments in this movie. Like there's a moment in this movie that I just think is hysterical because I love zombie movies. The thing about zombie movies that I've always adored is I love the idea of like you're kind of in one spot and then there's like this impending doom coming towards you, and at first it's kind of manageable, but if you stay in the same place for too long it can really build up, or if you're on the run and you like fall asleep, or you're not always actively keeping yourself safe that's where the danger comes from, and I find that concept to be extremely creepy. However, you know, some of these slow moving zombies, there are times where, like, you know, it's just one person with one zombie where you're really think to yourself as a viewer, like, how did they not get away from that person? And there's a moment, or a zombie I should say, there's a moment in this movie where Barbara is there and the zombie comes up to her and she just kind of nudges it away a couple of times, which I thought was hysterical. The main character is played by Tony Todd, and there's moments where he's like killing zombies with such gusto that it's amazing. However, I do prefer the original because I do think it created much more of a creepy atmosphere to it. Then coming in at number 5 is Return of the Living Dead. Again, this is a movie I really enjoy quite a bit, obviously, because it's my 5th favorite zombie movie of all time. I really enjoy the humor in this movie. Like, there's a moment where, like, in this movie, the zombies can speak. Like, whenever you see that whole thing when people are talking about zombies, where it's like, brains, brains, it comes from this, right? And there's a moment in this movie where one of the zombies gets on a PA and calls more ambulances so that they can eat the ambulance drivers. That just is hysterical in my view. There's some really creepy moments in it too. Like at the beginning, there's a moment the movie starts off and they're basically in like a medical warehouse. And when the zombies first come back to life, you see like this like halved dog that's moving around, and it's really kind of gross and grisly, but it's also like really interesting from a mental standpoint. Like the idea that like these creatures are alive pretty much no matter what happens to them. There's really interesting stuff in it too, where like there's 2 characters that are slowly becoming zombies and dying, and like so they are experiencing everything about death as they go throughout the movie, and I thought that was really interesting and creative. I really thought it was a cool idea to make it so that the zombies basically were almost invincible. It worked perfectly in this movie. I don't think it worked great for the movie becoming a franchise, which it did. The second movie is solid as well, but that series goes to complete crap as it continues. And I don't think it really deserved to be a franchise because the concept, I think, it only really works in this insular way because there's really no way to defeat them if that's the case. But for the single movie, I think it works great. For number 4, I'm going to go back to Night of the Living Dead, the original this time. As I mentioned before, I think this movie is extremely creepy and does a great job of setting you up to feel extremely claustrophobic in that house. There's horror movie tropes in it that aren't the best, like the completely unreasonable guy in the basement can get pretty ridiculous at times, but that stuff, throw it out the window. If you ignore that stuff, there's just great content in this movie. It's really, there's a reason why it managed to create an entire franchise and really a genre to a certain degree, because it really does give you that, like I said, claustrophobic feeling where you feel like everything's kind of coming in at you. And that's what I love about a good zombie movie, and that's why I love the original Night of the Living Dead. Coming in at number 3 is 28 Days Later. When I did my previous video, there was a lot of people in the comments that were mentioning 28 Days Later, and every time I saw it, I was like, how did I not include that? I love 28 Days Later. I mean, sure, they're not technically zombies. It's the rage virus. And I know that, so maybe I could let myself off for not including it last time. But you know, it's a cop out. I think it's totally a zombie movie, and it's one of the few, like Return of the Living Dead, one of the few zombie movies where they move fast that I actually really enjoy. But the majority of the time, I do prefer the creeping death of the slow moving zombies to the faster moving zombies. But in this movie, I think it is just done to perfection. I think the way it's shot is amazing. I think there's a moment partway through the movie where they're driving along, and all of a sudden the grass almost looks like a painting because it's so lush, and the way like the effects that they're putting on the visuals, and I think that looks awesome. There's so many moments in it that are like so like heart pounding, like when they're in the underground like tunnel, and the car breaks down and the zombies are like, that is just so creepy. And also like when they're in the building and the zombies are getting over like the car, it's done great. So like I said before, some of the shots are amazing, like when the blood hits the dude's eye, that was so expertly done. It's such an impressive movie. Absolutely love it. Number 2 is Shaun of the Dead. Sorry, not Shaun of the Living Dead. Shaun of the Dead. A brilliant movie in my opinion. Like doesn't get the respect it deserves from a standpoint of filmmaking. I know that this movie has a ton of fans, but the way that this movie is written is just so cool. Like if you've never picked up on the fact, if you've seen this movie, if you've never picked up on the fact that when Ed is giving his Nick Frost's character is giving his plan for how to deal with the zombie apocalypse, where we'll go pick up your girlfriend, pick up your mom, then we'll go to the bar and have a few drinks and wait for it. That pretty much is what happens. Obviously, it doesn't go as idyllic as his version of it, but the foreshadowing there is brilliant. And then like there's so many jokes in it that are so funny. And then when I saw this movie for the first time, I was really surprised at how gory it gets near the end too. Like honestly, if you're a comedy fan and a zombie fan, I don't know how you could not love this movie, because it really does both to perfection. And my number 1 zombie movie of all time is the original Dawn of the Dead. I love the original Dawn of the Dead. I love the whole idea of them being in a mall. I thought that was extremely creative and cool. It also makes a whole lot of sense, because if you go to a mall, you're going to find so many things there that you'll be able to use to kind of hole up and try to outlast the zombie apocalypse. So it made perfect sense for them to do it. I loved the fact that there's a pretty sizable lull in the middle where you kind of just see these people kind of trying to live their life in a mall, because I think that's actually a really cool idea. I think the zombie action is great. I mean, there's definitely some questionable effects, like the scene early on where the guy's head gets shot up and it almost looks like a watermelon blowing up. That was pretty goofy, but you know, for its time, it was perfectly fine. And I just love the I love the whole line about when hell is full, the dead will walk the earth. I think that is just such a great line. Like it's so evocative and so like really draws you in, and it's such a kind of creepy idea. It's just so perfectly written. I love that moment. Overall, I just think that movie is so well done. I think it to me it is the perfect zombie movie. There's nothing I would do to it to change it, and that's why it's my number 1 pick. So that's my top 10 zombie movies of all time list. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Are you a big zombie movie fan? Are you a zombie movie hater? Do you like ParaNorman? Come on, somebody tell me they watched ParaNorman and thought it was awesome. Other than that, please hit that like button. It does huge things for my channel. Basically it inspires YouTube to put me in that little like recommended page group thing that get other people to check me out that wouldn't have otherwise. And please subscribe. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. I love talking to you guys, and I'd love anybody who's checking this, who's watched this far especially, to stick around and talk to me more about movies and lists and life. But other than that, have yourself a nice day.